Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Melissa, and today we're going to be talking about holiday palettes. Not the ones that are on sale right now, but ones that you may want to consider traveling with for this holiday season. And the best part is you may already have them in your collection. My YouTube inbox is filled with reviews of all of the new holiday palettes and releases, the special limited edition kits, and quite frankly, it can be a little overwhelming. While all those new releases are interesting and exciting, I wanted to do a video about palettes that you could bring out for the holiday season, get a beautiful holiday look, and travel with, and shop your stash. The criteria for these palettes for this video were I wanted to make sure that I could get a nice matte, neutral daytime look, as well as a jazzed up, holiday, more festive look. So it had to have a good balance of mattes and shimmers, maybe a little sparkle to it, maybe some interesting colors. So that's how I approached this. I hope as you're watching this, you'll come up with some ideas of palettes that are in your own collection and share them below in the comments section so, we can all contribute to this idea of shopping your stash, but pulling out those palettes that are a little bit different, a little bit special, and would be great for traveling for this holiday season. So I am wearing one of the palettes in this list on my eyes today, and I will reveal that at the end of this video and just kind of walk you through my entire look in case you are interested. So these are not in any particular order. I just pulled them out, stacked them up, and I'm just going to work through the pile. The first one I have is from Dominique Cosmetics, and it's the Latte palette. So what I liked about this palette is there are quite a few matte shades in here and some really great punchy, shimmery shades. Even though they are pretty neutral, I feel like they are really very pretty. And you can combine those with these two punches of color and get a little bit more dramatic look. So you can kind of keep the eye fairly neutral and add these accents. I think this would be a great palette to travel with. I think it gives you quite an assortment from day looks into some evening looks and even some casual evening looks by using all the mattes, these colors, and here. The next one I'm going to share with you is from Tarte. It's the Tartist Pro palette, and this is actually really becoming one of my favorite palettes. So what I love about this palette is, first of all, there are tons of options. It's a pretty big palette, but maybe not for airline travel, but fine if you're going in the car somewhere and you have plenty of room. But what I love about this palette is it's full of mattes here in all different shades and tones. And this row here is just packed with shimmery duochrome colors that are just so beautiful. In addition to all that, this column here are all liner shades. So it's really a very complete palette, and you can get a lot of different looks with this and really punch it up with some of those duochrome sparkly shades. They look awesome on the lid. They perform well. This is really a complete palette in my mind, and it has a really gigantic mirror if your eyesight is good enough to use that. Next up, I pulled out my Pat McGrath palette. It is the Mothership Subliminal Eyeshadow palette. The one I have has quite a few neutrals in it, but it also has, this corner here is just all awesome, beautiful pops of shimmery deliciousness. Some of these shades can be used as toppers, some can be used alone, they're buildable. You can get a really dramatic look with this dark blue. You have enough neutrals in this palette that you can easily get a great daytime look, and there's enough in here to use as a base in your crease. There's also the light brow bone shade and a darker liner shade or something if you really want to deepen up that look. I think if you have any of the Pat McGrath palettes, it really doesn't matter which one. They all are very unique and different and fun to use, especially around this time of year. I would highly recommend that you take a deeper look at the ones that you have in your collection, if you have them in your collection. I think they're some of the most stunning eyeshadows I've ever used, and I really love them. So I'm always looking for new ways or new times to use them. So here's a little backstory about this palette. I used it when I went out for my anniversary, and I sent Kate a little picture, just like a Snapchat thing. And she wrote back and she was like, "Whoa, Mom, your makeup looks gorgeous." And I was like, well, thank you. And of course, that's what I was wearing. It is such a stunning palette. I love this one. I'm giving a hard look at one of the newer, smaller ones, but I'm on the fence whether I want to spend that money, even though the smaller ones are cheaper. Next up is the Norvina palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is just such a gorgeous palette, and this just screams like holiday or special events to me. It just, whew, so much beautifulness going on in here. And there's some great neutral mattes down here, so you can absolutely get a daytime look with it and a full eye look because it's all there. It's all there. This is really such a stunning palette. They are super shiny, just so pretty. I think you could get a gorgeous holiday look out of these. Next is another palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and it's the Sultry palette. I have really been playing around with this and just think this is quite a gorgeous palette. Again, similar to the Norvina, there's a lot of wonderful shimmer shades in here, great basics to build a daytime look or to build up and include in your final like holiday look. These are some of the shimmer shades. I think they're beautiful. They're just beautiful. I know people are like, what to do with that bloom shade? Let me just tell you, I am working on a video with this palette, but the holidays are kicking this project down the road a little bit. That bloom shade, if you own this palette, try using it to brighten an eye look, like blend it into the crease a little bit. I feel like it really helps keep the look fresh, brightens it up a little bit, and makes it, just makes it look a little bit different and not just like, oh, she's wearing a neutral eyeshadow look. No, it just gives it a little punch. And it doesn't translate that corally on the lid if you use like a lighter brush. Don't discount that bloom shade. If you own this palette, experiment a little bit with that. So the last palette that I'm going to share with you today is the Natasha Denona Mini Lila palette. I think this palette, I know it's small and it's kind of feels a little limited here, but these shadows are really quite beautiful. These first two make a great daytime look, and this is like the perfect crease shade possible. And then, you can, deepen it up with this plummy color. It almost looks a little like a darker brown once you like layer it. You have this great shade here, which is just such a fun accent. This would be my choice if I were traveling by air and needed to like really keep my makeup kit kind of small and compact. This is what I would take because it's got everything in it. Such a fun little palette. I'm really enjoying this little palette. So fun. So I'll give you an up-close view of this eyeshadow look. See if you can guess which palette I used. If you guessed the Norvina palette, then you would be correct. This is what I used to do this look today. And I will walk you through it real quick. After priming my eyes, I went all over my lid with this shade base. It's just a light neutral, practically my skin tone shade. I did it all the way up to the brow bone. Then I went into the shade Volatile, which is a really beautiful cool tone brown with just a loose fluffy brush. So I blended that in, it mixed in with a little bit with the base shade and gave me a beautiful like soft crease, almost transition shade along just above where my natural crease is, because I have, of course these hooded eyes. Then I went into Wild Child, and I went and applied that to the inner corner on my lid, and I followed up with Celestial on the rest of my lid, and just kind of blended those two. I did use a little bit of Soul here to deepen deepened Celestial a little bit, so it wasn't super sheer, but I just kind of went back and forth between these two and worked those on the outer, like 2/3 of my lid. And then to finish up the look, I went back into Celestial, this shiny purpley shade, and put that along my lower lash line and Wild Child along like the inner part of my lower lash line, and hit with a little bit of like this dark color here called Drama as like to deepen the lash line. A teeny bit right along the lashes just to kind of deepen it up and give it a little bit more intensity. I think this came out beautiful. It's not like too overdone, so your grandma's not going to go, oh my gosh, what is she wearing on her lids? But it is just a little bit of a fun change using a little bit of color in your look. I thought it came out beautiful. It's such a great palette. And then to finish up my look, I used this combination On the Glow blush from Wander Beauty. The blush shade is called Berry Whisper, and then the other end has like a highlighter shade, and that's called Nude Glow. To apply the blush, I took this small stipple brush, just rubbed it on the end and blended it in, and I used my fingers to apply the highlight. And then on my lips, I didn't want it to come out too like sweet looking, so I went with the Fenty Beauty Uncuffed, which is like a little bit of a darker nude, but it has a little bit of a mauvey undertone, and I think it works really well with the overall look. I publish videos every Saturday morning, and I'll include a link to last week's video right up here. And if you are new to my channel and just stopping by for the first time, I'll hope you hit this little bee icon and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.